Hello, my name is Janae, and I'm here on Mommy Anonymous with Jordyn. I was a teen mom, a stay-at-home mom, a working mom, and when you're a mom, you're a doctor, you're a lawyer, you're a bank, you're everybody.
All of the hats.
All of the hats when you're a mom.
This is very impressive to have somebody in front of me that has done all that you have done, and you have two amazing daughters, a grandchild. It's the proof is in the pudding. I see the seeds that you have, watered. It's really beautiful, and I really wanted to talk to you about your experience being a teen mother and how you're a young grandmother. Starting off young, now you're an even younger grandma. So how does that make you feel? So I have a couple questions for you,
Okay.
but I just want to start off. So how old were you when you had your first child?
I was 17 years old when I had my first child, and I was in my senior year of high school. And I was very smart. I was a nerd, almost by some standards. And I got out of school before everybody else, but I was pregnant. And I belonged to some clubs, I remember, and I got kicked out because I was pregnant.
Kicked out by who? The kids or the teachers?
By the teachers that were over the club members, because I was a pregnant teen.
How did that make you feel?
Not good. I struggled with my pregnancy because I wanted to go away to college. I had the grades, I had the skills, the knowledge, and I didn't go away because my grandmother told me, this is your baby and you need to raise her, and I'm going to help you. And she says, there's nothing wrong with your brain. You're only having a baby.
Okay.
And so that right there really encouraged me to keep going to school, to college, to all of that. And I remember I signed myself up for the teachers to come to your house. I forgot what they called it, but I didn't go to a pregnant school. I went to this regular high school or whatever. I went to school every day, and I signed myself up. And the teacher came, and I did my work. I turned it in with my baby on my lap, and I graduated at the top of my class. I had high GPA.
Amazing.
Or whatever, and I went on to college. I worked. I didn't want to be a statistic.
Right.
I did not want that for myself. And I felt like I had something bigger to live for other than myself. Even though I didn't know what the hell I was doing. But I said, you know what, I'm going to make a good life for us.
That's very inspirational. A lot of people, when they get faced with the challenges of not getting the encouragement from people that they want, it sounds like your grandmother being there to encourage you just to stick it out. You're brilliant. The baby isn't going to make you not brilliant.
That's
you know
right.
what I'm saying?
That's
that has nothing to do with your mind, and that is something to make sure you know that you're something outside of this baby that's just growing inside of you. The other teachers and things that that would have been a discouraging thing if you didn't have,
I think that my life would have turned out very different had my grandmother not stepped in.
Okay.
My parents didn't really know how to handle my pregnancy. They were ashamed. They really were. They supported me with my daughter after I had her, but they were not happy about it. And no parent would be, don't get me wrong. But my grandmother really, really encouraged.
Why do you think that is? That parents aren't just... Why do you think that it wasn't just like your mom or your dad's being as encouraging as your grandmother? Just because of the age thing, or what is different generationally that we can't encourage the next people, even though we know we're going to be okay regardless?
You know what? That is determined. I want to say that's determined by whatever you've been through. Okay? So my grandmother only had one son, which was my father.
Okay.
So I think, and this is in my mind how I interpret it, I think that she just wanted more kids, and this was her way of having them. So it just depends on what your thought process is or things that you've been through. With my mom, per se, she has a very big family. She's one of the eldest in her family, and she helped to, take care of her brothers and sisters. So with that thought being in her head, she did not want that life for me. So I don't think it was, it just depends on what you go through. It depends on what you go through.
I think that I'm trying to learn how to unlearn some things, and I'm just like, how do I make sure I don't just repeat some of the things? So that's why I'm asking, like, I don't want to be, I just don't want to be. There's some things, the way I was raised, like I wasn't raised getting a lot of hugs necessarily.
Okay.
Let's just say that, for example. So it's like, how do I not go on to not hug my children because I wasn't given hugs, like, and I don't feel like I need, like, like I turned out just fine, kind of.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm just trying to unlearn some things just because I turned out okay. Would I have done better if I had a little bit more encouragement? Would I have turned out, like, could I have done, not been so, I don't know. I just am trying to do things better for my kids. So I'm looking at all different sides of things just to see how to rewrite history. Not necessarily that what happened to me was negative, but the things that I didn't like or I think I could have benefited more from, like a hug, I'm going to do with my kids. Yeah.
How can I answer that? My mother was a very stern woman. She was the captain of the ship in her household, in her family. So she wasn't a big hugger, right? And I wanted that from her, but I didn't get that from her. I got that from my dad. I got that from my grandmother. I got that from my aunts and stuff like that. But this is what I will say. If, you can't rewrite history, you can't regret it, because you would not be the you that you are right now, and I would not be the me that I am. However, whatever it is that you feel that you missed, be that for your children. So that's what I do.
Right.
I hug my kids. I kiss my kids, even though they're adults, right? We get in the car. If we go, in the car together, I sing to them. They're like, "Mom, really?
This is your
We're like 90 years old," and I'm like, "So what?" And even with Sierra's fiance, he's my son too. He is Royce's father, so I love him as well. So I just all the things that I feel that I needed, I give to them.
Right. So I think that's kind of what I'm doing, and trying to be intentional about it.
Yes.
And I don't have any resentment. So like you said, this is the reason that now I'm a super touchy, huggy mom, because of that. So I'm just like, okay, like glass half full, we're there. So I have another question. Now, I know that I met you when we were on the set of Windy City Live.
Yes.
And you were the official makeup artist, and that is really inspiring to just be able to live your dream to the fullest. Like when people do things, you didn't do it halfway. Like you were literally on ABC. Like what I'm saying? Like this is really top notch. But you were sitting there and you're telling me about your daughter too at the same time. Like this is my daughter. I want you to meet my daughter. Now me and your daughter are like really great friends. It's a relationship that has built, but I feel like you being a working mom was very inspiring. So I'm like, tell me more about your experience being, were you a stay-at-home mom? Were you a working mom the entire time? Like, I'm curious to know how that happened for you.
I was both. I lived two different lifestyles because my kids are 10 years apart. So when Sierra was small, I worked, I went to school, and I had a very big village that allowed me to do so. I had both my parents at the time, and shout out to my friends. I have like 5 friends that Sierra owes her life to, okay? And they babysat while I worked, while I went to school, and that's that part of my life. And then when I had Jahari, I was in a different space of my life. I was married. I stayed home for a long time, and then I went to work. But I realized this child needed me to stay home with her.
Okay.
So
kids need different things.
Different kids need different things, and so you have to stretch yourself as a parent. Stretch and shrink yourself sometimes too. And when I realized that she was not doing well when I was away, I had to come to some resolve with the other parent and figure out how can we get her stable.
Right.
I started staying home, and she just turned out to be brilliant, a genius. She needed
that extra
she
attention.
she needed more. She needed more structure.
Yeah.
Than Sierra did. She just wanted me around more, and from that, she just took off.
Soaring.
She soared.
Just being able to see what your children need and give them that, if you can. Sometimes
If you
it's
can.
not.
And it wasn't easy.
And it probably wasn't even in the cards for you as easy. You had to make a lot of sacrifices, like you
did.
say. So that I feel like your daughter, hearing that, you know that your parents make sacrifices, but when it does, it might negatively affect you for a period of time, make you have to like you said, stretch and shrink.
Stretch and shrink, yes.
But if she can see that that was the sacrifice that you made, like in the grand scheme of things, she, well, that is a thankless job being a mom.
It is.
And you don't even know what all your mom has done for you.
But they see it. They what's the best gift that has been for me with my daughters is that them growing up now and being adults, and one being a parent, the other one coming into womanhood and really getting a full frame picture of what my life is and what it has been, because they're now women,
Yes.
right? They're like, wow,
You're really doing the big
Wow.
thing.
Mom, I'm sorry and I love you.
And you've been doing it since 17, so it's like even like, whoo.
Yeah.
It's like knowing that we haven't had one day off since you became a parent, since you found out you were pregnant. It's like since 17, it's just,
It's on go. It's on.
you're the MVP.
It's on accelerate.
And it still is, though. So
Yeah,
because
and-
now us bringing other children into,
Yes.
now we're trying to put the grandma hat on you, too.
Yes.
Now, what is your title that you like to be called?
I am glammy.
Glammy.
I
Okay.
am glammy.
Now, I think that's really cute, especially because you're a makeup artist. So I think that it's like, this is super appropriate for you. I hear a lot of glamas and GGs, and we get new titles and
Yes.
stuff for and a lot of, social media and us young moms are all, we drag you grandmas talking about how the new grandmas don't act like the old grandmas. I know you've heard it. So
Of course.
what is your perspective on that?
Okay. So I remember the day as clear as ever when I found out I was going to be a grandma. And they all came into the room, and my youngest daughter is the attorney for Jamal and Sierra. And she did the speaking, and she told me that Sierra was pregnant while the two of their grown asses sat there and didn't say anything. And so she's doing all the talking. So I'm like, I'm stone-faced at this point, because I'm like, am I supposed to be happy? Am I supposed to be, like, how am I supposed to be? Because y'all just told me I won't have no kids, so I don't know how to react.
Yes. That's your introduction to
Yeah. It was crazy. So, I would never, ever turn my back on them, ever. And my grandmother is one of the most important, was one of the most important people in my life. Now, am I going to be the house coat, house shoe, every weekend grandma? No, I'm not. And I told them that. However, being a grandmother is very important to me. So from the time he was born, I've seen Royce probably every day of his life, video.
Right, at least you're like in some form. I didn't see that boy.
I see him every week,
Okay.
mostly.
Okay.
Every single week, I have him. Whether I take him to school, whether I pick him up, I spend time with my grandson. That's important to me. I feel like it's important for him. I feel like it's important for children to have grandparents. I feel like it's important for them to have some time to spend together without Royce.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like it's bonding time for Royce and I. And I like kids too. But grandma still gonna get out there. She gonna be outside.
Right, you gotta be outside.
I gotta be outside. I'm coming
Right.
all the way outside. But it's very important for me to have time with my grandson.
Okay.
He cracks me up, and he just makes me happy.
Being life.
Yes, he does. He is funny.
It's like a jolt of life, but it is a lot. They have so much energy.
Yes.
I don't blame my mom for not wanting to keep all three. That seems like super duper obnoxious to request, especially I keep piling them on, and then it's like, but I do, I did want or desire a little warm and fuzzy, grandmother thing. But I think that it's like an age difference thing too, where our grandmothers were older and not so that they were further in their careers, so they have more time to sit down. Like the way capitalism and inflation and gas prices, how are our mothers supposed to not be working?
Listen,
to be at home with our children at the same time.
The only way that Royce is going to be, with me like that, he's going to put on an esthetician outfit and he's going to be working too.
And then there's child labor laws.
Yeah.
So I understand.
Yeah.
And so you being a young mom, you're an even younger grandma, you're younger than my mom. So I try to think, I've been giving her grace because of your age. Like, okay, fine, my grandma was like 50 when I, like, 50, like maybe like later in her 50s, and when we let her sit down to have grandkids. Mm-hmm. And maybe she'll start to enjoy them a little bit more as she gets older. Do you think there's an age group, like an age you'll start once, like it'll be easier for you to watch, and you think it'll be like a little bit better a little later? Not that there's anything wrong right now, but once he's able to be more independent, you think you'll be able to be like have him even more like your grandma had you sometimes?
Well, here's the thing. Life is very different now. And the grandmothers of my generation were different. People are living better. Mm-hmm. They're healthier. They're younger. So that is a difference. Number one. Number two, for me, I don't think Royce's level of age or independence has any, for me, at least. I mean, I kept him when he was a little raw chicken and I was afraid of him. But I don't think that has anything to do with it for me. I want to be involved. I want to be present. And they send me videos and they capture moments for me when I can't be there because I request that. Right. I want that.
So I think that is something that I applaud you for. Not that you need an applaud, but people don't. That is understated. Like I think that wanting, like, I want to see my grandbaby, even just to see him for a second, like calling, like, well, let me talk to Royce. Yeah. Let me talk.
I do every day.
That just makes you so warm and fuzzy too. That your child is wanted. Mm-hmm. And so I think that sometimes when people are talking about the grandmother thing, it's not for you. You know what I'm saying? Or for the grandmothers that really are doing the things in between that aren't based on like capitalism. That doesn't cost any money. All the free things. Like I understand why I can't send my kids to your house for the summer. You know, like I get that. That was a way different times. Like where we send the kids for the summer now? Where are we supposed to send them? You know? You can't send them up to the south like you used to. Like it's like it. So now I have to understand that that's not going to be the reality. I just thought it was my village. Like you said, you had a lot of friends that help babysit. All my friends are entrepreneurs and like in school and working because everything's too expensive for them to just be available.
But it is such it is such a different time. And when Sierra had Royce, I said, "Listen, don't you dare let your friends watch this baby, because people are different now.
So who's gonna help watch them?"
I was doing a lot of it, it, because I said that. So if I said that, then that means I gotta do more. If I'm saying, I don't want you to do this, do that. Mm-hmm. I can't say that and then not do anything. You know what I'm saying? So because I said that, I was on baby duty. But now that he's getting older and going to school and all those kinds of things, it's just such a scary time now. And when I see all these things about these young women and the boyfriend and bashed the baby's head up against the wall and found the baby in a dumpster, those things scare me. They scare me very, very badly. And so I inserted myself in that plan. And now that he's going to school, very happy.
Yeah, he has another routine, another support system. Like going to school and having other adults that you can, rear you, but you guys all have the same, you're all saying the same thing. Things are being reinforced. Like him, I noticed Royce talking so much more from going to school until now. Yes. But it's like, I know why we were keeping our kids out of school for so long. Mm-hmm. Because of us, me and Sierra both had our kids during COVID. Like, we both had Denham and Royce are 2 months apart.
Yeah.
And so she was like, your pregnancy looks so easy. It's just like everything's so different. I'm like, I'm just a veteran of being pregnant, And but this is your first baby, and Sierra's a little dramatic. She's like, why is this not happening?
You know that I know that. I'm her mother.
Right, I know you know. So were you in the room when she had the baby? Were you able to be? I'm so happy that Royce was born before 2020. Because when the mothers weren't allowed to be in the room, and the fathers and the husbands weren't allowed, I couldn't imagine being a first-time parent and the first-time mother and not having my mom there.
We were all there. Me, Jahari, we were all there.
That is so beautiful.
We were all there, and the funny part about this is that I had a surgery like days before Royce was born, because I thought I had a little bit more time. So I kept asking them. I said, am I going to have time to have this surgery? Let me tell you, I wish that Sierra would show you the clips of us. I'm in a wheelchair. She's in a wheelchair. Jahari's pushing me. Jamal's pushing Sierra. They ran me into the wall. I mean, it was crazy.
It was to the camera.
It was crazy, and we laughed afterwards. But it was just such a beautiful time that I could be there and experience the birth of my grandson.
What is something that you wish you knew before becoming a mom?
That there are no bad situations, that there are only experiences in life, and that every experience is set up to turn you in a different direction. And had I known that early on, I wouldn't have internalized so many things that I did, and I wouldn't have taken them so personally. But now that I'm older and I know that, and I see where I came from to where I am now, I know that was only to usher me into the direction that I was supposed to be in. And even the things that have brought me down to my knees, and I thought, damn, this is going to be the thing that's going to just break me and take me out. But that was the thing that made me stronger and showed me more of myself and what I was capable of doing, my resilience, and also turned me into being the best esthetician I could be from those experiences. Also turned me to be a better person, also turned me to be a better mother, and also turned me to really love myself a little deeper. Yeah,
it's beautiful. It's so beautiful.
But that's real. It's I wish I would. I really, really wish that. But again, I try not to harbor unspilled milk.
And now you have these 2 daughters that you can teach now that same lesson, and they can operate with that. I have little boys, so things I wanted to tell my younger self, as a little girl. I can't really do that until I have a girl, which is never. But you know what I'm saying? Like,
you can parent, you can reparent the little girl that's inside of you. I'm sure that my kids got stuff too. They got
their laundry list
for me too. But you could always, reparent and redirect yourself for things that you need.
I think that's beautiful. Well, thank you so much
You're
for coming
so
on
welcome, Jordyn.
the Mommy's Anonymous podcast. I'm trying to get different perspectives from all different ages and experiences, and because I don't know everything. I'm just really living in my life from my experience, but I want to know how it's been for everyone, so everybody can feel heard and feel understood. And your daughter's hearing that alone, your thing that you wish you knew. It's like, once you hear that, it's like that rights all the proverbial wrongs that they may have felt. Like, you just want to hear that sometimes. Yeah. So I just thank you so much.
Thank you for
coming. Come back anytime.
I will.
And think of something else you want to talk about, girl. Come on back. And
all right, I'd be more than happy to come back and chit chat with you.
All right. Well, thanks, guys. We will be back next week with Dear Mama.